Yo, what's good? This is Deuce Wild. This is with me and my boy.
Hey, how's it going? This is Al. Oh, sorry. Okay.
I mean, I wanted you to come in.
All right.
But this is a new podcast, so excuse us. You know, we got to get our cobwebs off. We did this before. It was a podcast called For Real, For Real.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse me, I'm sorry. My name is Tristian. This is my boy Al. This is Deuce Wild. I get into a little bit more, but I just want to give some background about me and my boy Al. We did a podcast before. It was not as professional sounding as this at all. I don't even know, but it was a good opportunity for me and him to flesh out ideas, be able to talk. But this time around, Deuce Wild. This is going to be more of an outrageous, more of a lighthearted, more of an honest, more of a less. There's so much in the world as far as just everybody's giving their opinions, being serious and long-winded. We are going to give you a refreshing outlook on life, a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit more honest, and we ask that you, our audience, not be so thin-skinned, right?
I would say, while it's good to be informed and good to be aware of what's happening around you, you're going to get fatigued.
For sure.
You woke too long, you need to take a nap. So just relax.
Relax.
You know?
Everybody wants to be woke. Everybody wants to be that guy, but I'm not trying to be that guy. Like honestly, I don't want to be so woke that I'm not able to enjoy my life. So, with no further ado, Al, go into a little bit about yourself, and I'll come in after you.
So, about myself, I work in technology, the ad tech space. I've been doing that since leaving school. Very logical, analytical type field. I mean, there's creativity, but it's normally in the context of, getting code to run, solving clients' problems, etc. So I always, enjoy the opportunity to do something very different, very creative in a different way. I am looking forward to having a good conversation.
For sure.
Looking forward to exploring some kind of out there ideas sometimes.
You already know.
And maybe ruffling some feathers and maybe gaining in some supporters. So we'll see where it goes.
Definitely, we want the support. We want the people behind us. So I'm Tristian. I've done a little bit of everything since school. Let's see. First, I was an auto mechanic since school. Since high school, actually. I decided not to go straight to college because I knew better. I thought, why should I have to spend all this money for an education for something that I may or may not use, right? So I became an automotive technician. I went to, a school for that, and I ended up not doing that. So I wasted my money on something that I ended up not doing. So I ended up, after that, working a job here and there, and then going back to school to be a personal trainer or get into the fitness industry. I got my associates in exercise science, and from there on, I started training people. I started working at a gym, realized the gym is just out there to rape personal trainers. They will hire you and take 60% of your income and then just leave you out there not getting most of the money that you're creating, that you're generating. So
wow,
I decided not to do that anymore because that seemed dumb to me. Again, this is me using my brain and just realizing what I'm doing is not for me because this situation clearly doesn't make sense for me.
So then, I'm curious though. So then would you say that experience was, it almost sound like street game, like
Exactly.
Okay.
I felt like a hoe. I'm like, damn, I'm not even a top hoe. I'm like a bottom hoe. And I'm like, no, I don't like this. It doesn't feel good. So I took a step back from that and decided to be an independent person. But during that, I ended up getting into customer service, ended up climbing up a little bit. I'm in the light corporate world, I guess, sales now. Sales industry, account manager, and I work hard. But at the same time, I like to have a good time. I'm a fun guy.
Yeah.
I'm responsible. I'm not a kid anymore. I'm a grown man. I feel good about myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you plan to do the settling down and having the family thing, but I tell you, it changes things.
Oh, well, I got to like it's getting up there. It's about time. Yeah, I mean, come on now. But no, I'm definitely taken now, and she's amazing. So things are going well.
That's what's up.
But I know you're definitely deeply entrenched in family life.
Oh yeah, 2 kids, the wife, the mortgage, the whole nine.
Oh,
So it's not. I would say 90% of the time it's great.
this
10%
sounds.
of the time you kind of want to get a face tattoo and just like be in the streets.
It sounds like you're like on the brink of a midlife crisis. Like you.
Damn.
Do you feel that way? Do you feel that way?
No, I would say the only thing in terms of midlife crisis, though I got it some years ago, would be more so, we were the generation that anything was possible because our parents had like the bright outlook of like they had a very low expectations in terms of the job market, the baby boomers. An economy ended up being great when they hit adulthood. At that point in time, college for most folks was very affordable. You could like work a part-time gig, get your way through it.
Yeah.
They got pretty good corporate gigs, pretty good jobs overall. So they were like, yeah, the future's bright. So we were here in that generation.
Yeah.
So my thought was, or the joke we used to have around the office was, if you're not a billionaire by 30, you failed. So, the pressure to meet that maybe impossible standard is probably the only thing that I feel looming in the background of like, hey, man, you're in your mid-30s, you still aren't rich. You aren't struggling, but you aren't rich.
I definitely feel that. I definitely feel that too. A little bit more in my situation. I feel like because I feel like you get a little bit of a complex if you don't have a 4-year college degree. Like you feel like people look down.
Oh, you're saying
on you.
Other individuals,
and even within yourself, you feel like I don't want to go back to school. That's nothing happening. But I mean, if I felt like I needed training for something, I felt like I fell in love with some shit, and I felt like I was just going to do it, and I was going to go after it. I would do whatever it took to do it. But right now, my feelings are not that. I don't have those plans or those urges. But you feel like when you're trying to get like a job within something outside of necessarily what your passion is or what your hobby is, and it's just corporate world, whatever you're good at, whatever you're able to do to make some money. Because we all got bills we got to pay, regardless of what our passions are. You feel like my position in this rat race is a little bit behind just because I don't have this thing. And everyone's like, man, fuck, you don't even have a piece of paper. You don't even have a master's degree. Like a master's degree is the new bachelor. It's not even a bachelor's anymore. It's like masters. If you got the masters, that's where you get the good jobs, the 60, 70, 80, 90. Like if you just got a bachelor's, you're going to be around there with me, scrapping around.
It may depend on like where you are, because I would say, I've only got the bachelor's in computer science. A lot, and not a lot. I would say it's a mix of coworkers.
I will say, us in our 30s, don't get it twisted. Like I'm not a bum, but I don't want to make it seem like that. But what I'm saying is, like for us, we're more of we're not wealthy. We're not even making I don't want to put your business out there, but I would say $150,000 is not us.
I do okay.
Yeah, you shitting on me.
No. But I'll put it this way: when you factor in retirements, childcare, mortgages, all of the other stuff, we're in the same boat. We're in the same boat.
Oh shit! You make me scared to have kids. But no. But what I'm saying is, for us, like you have to work a little bit harder for yours. We're not in the cushy upper percent corporate world where
you are right.
Money is just coming in, and I don't have to work as hard. I can go on golf trips. I can go on vacations. It's just coming in. So being part of the working class, you feel like that piece of paper is a validation. It's like a benchmark. It's like a measuring thing. Whose dick is biggest type of situation, and it could be a little, it could be a little difficult from us, and especially my woman, she's got the masters and out here playing that game, and she's also working, but she's ahead because she's got that thing that validate everybody wants, and I can see the difference. Like I gotta go. She goes in a couple of interviews, she got a job. I go on like 10 or 15. I may or may not. It's just a little bit harder. I gotta prove myself in other ways. I gotta talk. explain my life to you in a way that you would understand why I am where I am and did what I did. Like, you really got to be able to present and sell yourself as a person, as a whole person. You can't let them just look at this thing and be like, this is who you are, because it's not. There's a lot more to me, and if I was ever passionate about something, you'd get 100% from me.
Right.
But if I could tell if what I'm doing is not for me, I will get easily distracted.
I know what you mean, because now, like, I'm in the part of the hiring side, like interviewing folks, and like our SVP, she's like, hey, we want to make sure they have the same energy. They want to have this desire to be great.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the loaded question of, well, why do you want to work here? Because I need money. That's why I want to work here. Like the cheerleading, the sis boom ba, like,
No.
I love, because I'm in that digital ads, I love serving ads. Like, no, you're doing this because you got bills and you want to survive. You may find some parts of it interesting, but, I think, I've always been honest, like in interviews, like, why do you want to work here? This is interesting. Or, where I work now sucks. And they're just like, all right. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Like, for me, like, it's just exactly that. I'm not finna, like, my measurement of being successful or being great, honestly, and you tell me if this is fucked up, it's how much am I able to make. It's not how good I am at your job, your company. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like however much I'm still able to make with my own hustle and energy, able to make a good amount of money for myself because of myself. I don't think it's because of one job.
I've always conflicted about this, because there's definitely been the push, which I think overall is positive, of like people having multiple income streams, people, not being tied to just your job, because things can happen and you don't have a job anymore in the industry, your skill set may no longer be relevant. But at the same time, I kind of look at it like, okay, Black people, I understand a lot of times we don't have the cushion, the network to sort of take risk, and if things don't work out, sort of bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
So we out of necessity, you're having to be resourceful and figure things out, and
Exactly.
you work 2 or 3 gigs to try different stuff, 100%. And I'm for it, but at the same time, I kind of like look around and go, well, the plan doesn't necessarily fail for everybody. It looks more like you have to pick and choose what exactly you're going to focus your energy into, and if you find the right path, you can very well have a good life just working a job that you enjoy and you're good at.
Exactly.
Like, I get the whole Dame Dash, be your own boss, but somebody's got to work for somebody, whether it's your customers or it's...
I feel him in a way, though, because when you get to a certain age, like for me, like you get to a certain age and your bosses end up, being younger than you. You feel like at this point, I would rather be doing having my own thing.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because you'd asked, like, you mentioned that my success is more about how much I make, not much work for your company.
Exactly.
And I would say, I'm thinking of like the happiness index, that the study, granted, it's been a few years I looked at it. They were saying, in terms of like after a certain amount of money you make, the amount of happiness it brings you sort of like starts to diminish in terms of like the net gains. And I think the sweet spot at that time was like anybody between, I think it was 75 and 90 is pretty much on par with happiness to anyone who makes well above that.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you get into the, upper echelons of like the 7, 8 figures and up, it may be a bit different, but someone making $250 versus someone who's making 75 to 90, they're about the same level of happiness, all things considered.
I would also say the people who are up there, you brought up the upper echelons, they're also doing something that they have a little bit more investment into.
Possible, yeah.
From an emotional standpoint, because this is really what I love to do. Like I'm like, they're driven in a way because I'm putting all my energy in this thing, but this thing is my life. And I'm cool with that because this is my life. This is who I am. It's my identity. Not I'm doing this thing that I don't want to do for this money.
Maybe. It could be success builds on success. It's like if I'm doing good at something and I keep doing better and better, maybe. But sometimes people do get trapped into like a lifestyle. Yeah. Because I've thought about like doing career switches. Like, you know what? Maybe do something completely different. But then I start thinking like, I got a mortgage. I got to think about tuitions. I got to think about retirement. I got to think about all these things that depend on me bringing in bread.
Yeah,
So you kind of feel to your to like the thing you asked me about that crisis, not necessarily a crisis, but I've talked about this in therapy. It was like, sometimes you feel trapped by circumstance. It's not bad. I'm not struggling.
No.
But it's like the pressure to make sure you keep this train going, whether you want to or not.
You don't really feel free.
Yeah.
Like
that can be a luxury. That's a luxury.
Yeah. Being free is a luxury.
The feeling of like, I can do whatever I want when I want, I think is a luxury that may be...
Then what are we doing this for if it's not for that?
And I know we got like a whole bunch of stuff we want to get into. This is like the thing I think about, right? I think it may be not necessarily a black thing, maybe more of a Western culture where there's like this fantasy of, I'm doing whatever I want to do for me in this moment. And I think sometimes, while that can be valid, I think we don't necessarily think about the long haul. Meaning, when I think about like my grandmother, my mom, like the generations before me, they at some point it was, what am I doing now that affects like those coming after me? And that's what I think about now. Like, do I have the luxury of going, you know what? I'm just gonna be an MMA journalist, something that I have no experience in.
Yeah.
But I gotta think about, okay, your sons, people make sacrifices for you. You have to do the same. It's not really a sacrifice. It's more like making them have the opportunity to go further than you could. At some point.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, like, that step back could springboard you into that. Could springboard, like, being an MMA journalist, if you take the same drive you got at your field now, you could be very well making six figures. I mean,
maybe. Or I could take a path and go, like, you know what? This may not necessarily be, like, I get up in the morning and I want to, like, do a Millie Rock or something. But I'm making moves now that will give my boys the opportunity to do things maybe I didn't think were possible.
Yeah. You start living for your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's some fulfillment for me.
It's exactly why I don't have children. I want to live for me.
But even if you opt not to have kids, like, you can make moves that can impact, the community in ways you didn't realize.
Of course. Like, it would take on other things to leave a legacy. It's all about that, leaving a legacy. You have to leave. Everything can't be for you. It's got to be to leave something here behind so that you can have, like, you leave an imprint on this world. You have children. You're going to definitely leave an imprint on this world because you're going to bring them up and they're going to be great people too. So, for sure. But, I mean, my girl got into an argument about, she thinks I'm materialistic.
You are.
And I know that. I think that as Americans, we should all come to grips with our materialism. We are all material in some way.
I've got a smartphone that was probably has components that were given by child labor. Yes,
exactly.
I acknowledge that.
But I was trying, my place in society as a male is to provide. So I want a family with this woman.
I'm curious. Why did you say male and not man?
It's just a choice of words. I don't even think it was a psychology behind it. Okay. As a man in this world, especially as a man, I think that as a man even more, because it's more of the identity of what that is.
Okay.
It's not necessarily anything that's actually real, but I didn't grow up in the 90s and the 2000s. I grew up in the 80s where a man was a certain type of person. And like, how you feel about that or not, wherever you're from or whoever you are, like, it's just the truth. I grew up in a time where a man was a certain person, a certain identity. Yeah. And that's what my father was, and that's who my role model is in life. Always has been. So that's where I'm going to be geared towards. So what I was telling her is, like, I have to think about that all the time. Every time I make a move, it's a price. I put a price on everything. If I break some shit, that's $120. If I have to go buy something, if I got to go to the grocery store, how much is this going? It's probably going to cost me around $150 to $250 a day. Like, I put a number on everything, and I got to figure out how to make that number up in my mind. Like, I always got to figure out, is what I'm making enough? Is it whatever I'm doing to make more? Is it enough to make sure that I'm not just paying for this bill today, but paying to be able to put money away as well? Like, everything's a price to me. Everything has a number. I break some shit or I see some shit I want. I already factored it in my mind and I'm processing it, and I got a number in my mind of what I want to go out and get. So it's like goal setting for me as well. So yeah, it's gonna make me seem that way. It doesn't make me a bad person to be materialistic. It doesn't make me a selfish person necessarily if I'm materialistic either. It just makes me materialistic. I think that people automatically want to make that a pejorative when most of us are probably materialistic. Most of us like things
Right.
for the most part. It's just different things. And they're things nonetheless, but you don't think they're things because you put them on some pedestal where they're not things anymore, and there's some type of thing, there's some type of bigger thing than really just a thing.
So then I guess to ask, so was the point where you guys were kind of having difference of opinion is she saying that materialism from her perspective is to a point to where it's negatively impacting decisions you make, or is it more of like, hey, you really seem to be into like whatever X item is, and you'll go out of your way to get that regardless of circumstance?
She thinks that just because of my nature, so I'm in sales, I've been in the sales type of game for a while, especially personal training. It's the same type of lifestyle. There are good days and bad days. And the bad days fuck with me. And when I talk about them, I talk about the things that I'm trying to accomplish, and they usually are the things. I want certain, but they do represent, in a way, milestones. I also see the things that I have as kind of like trophies. I was able to get this because I do this. I grind, I work hard.
Right.
She kind of sees all of that as negative in a way. Like it's making me sad because I shouldn't put my value in any of these things, and I should just, I don't know, my value should be in the Lord. I don't know. I feel like my value should be, I guess she feels like my value should be in me, I guess. And me and her and relationship and my family and those types of things. And I just feel like, yeah, but can't nobody eat none of that. Like, I feel you, but I got other things that are going to be on my mind that, they may, affect my mood. But I try to make sure that they don't. I do a shitty job at it. I ain't gonna lie. But I try to do the best that I can. But therapy, you brought that up. I had to do therapy in the beginning of the pandemic just because shit got crazy. Just been in the house all the goddamn time. And I had to, start talking to somebody. And I had to stop just because I got to a point where, again, I'd be thinking, and I just felt like I kind of figured out this issue. I don't need to talk to you anymore.
It served its purpose.
Yeah, and then she caught that, and she kind of just ended it, and I haven't really been, talking to her since. But it was a good experience. But I'm able to sit down and actually think about these things and come to the grips that it's okay for me to think this way, but also not necessarily that's who I am. I think that we are much deeper than just this one thing.
Yeah, I guess to wrap it up, balance, because obviously
that's what it's about. Like, work-life balance, man. Some days, what I'm saying, you gotta call off and be like, fuck today, because work-life balance, mental health day.
I don't do. That is one thing I am frankly terrible at. I forego vacation all the time. We have unlimited vacation, and I almost never use it.
Bro, why do you do that?
I think, simply put, maybe not the same vein of what you're speaking about. Your role as a man is the provider. That's the role, that the archetype that we had.
But you earn those days.
Yeah, but my brain is like, the minute I start thinking about taking days off, I think, what about my team? You got to
clear it with your people at the job, but you should always, I feel like that's the one thing that I've always been around people that did it. So, and I what I'm saying, I believe in it wholeheartedly. Like, take advantage of your PTO. You worked for that. Like, it's part of that's part of your salary. It's part of your benefit plan.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about the team, the people that report to me.
No. I feel you. Like, it's a responsibility that you leave when you leave work. But
and there's just the nature of our gig. There's always so much to do that I start going like, oh man, if I take X amount of time off, when I come back, there's gonna be a mountain of work. And I know that's a feeling, that's a thought process that has its pros and cons.
Yeah.
But part of my identity is I work hard. That's part of built into like how I was raised, how I am. Like if there's work to do, I don't want to sit down and like have a conversation about, okay, who's going to do this? I'm just going to do it. I'm like, I don't.
And my mentality is that I work hard and I earn this goddamn break.
And you're right.
It's in the paperwork. Like
Right.
This is part of what you're giving me, and you should factor in for the fact that Tristian has 25 work days that I could take off. Like if you can't, then don't give it to me. Don't say I have unlimited PTO, because that's what I have. I have unlimited PTO. But that's not real. That's just because I don't want to give you a number the way I got to pay you out at the end of the year. That's what that is. So when they give you unlimited PTO, it's really not unlimited. You better bring your ass to work and make sure this money gets made. Like I really don't. Like that's how I feel the same way. But at the same time, like especially with the work from home situation now.
Yeah,
it's way too easy for me to. I work more, but at the same time, work-life balance is easier. I can take a nap and wake up and do my work. I do my work in a lot of short bursts, so I'm able to do that. But I mean, if I have a lunch, instead of having to be at some lunch on my desk eating, which is really not a lunch,
right,
or at somebody's cafeteria, I'm able to go take a nap, which is a better lunch to me. Because most of us eat at our desks anyway. I know I do.
Yeah.
Like to eat at the desk and you still working, you didn't really take a lunch. So take a nap and have whatever your lunch was at your desk. That's work-life balance at its finest, baby. I love working from home. God bless this pandemic.
But companies are definitely trying to push people back into coming to the office because obviously they're paying for spaces, they have leases, et cetera. They want to get back to that culture. But speaking of culture, we're at a great cultural reckoning right now, right? Whereas a simple example is R. Kelly. So by that I mean, for years, at this point, everyone knows R. Kelly's transgressions.
Mm-hmm.
He has a affinity for the young ladies, and it's always been interesting because at first, people were aware of this. Granted, our generation, we were more so kids, so there's like an awareness of it, but you're not old enough to really understand what's happening. And in the sense of like, when you're like, at that time, you're like 13, 14 when it's happening, maybe, that time frame, media isn't as robust as it is now. So all you know in the news is like, hey, he got caught up in some kind of situation with an underage girl. But the part that people don't talk about is that culturally, that's something that's kind of been slowly, it's been changing, but it's not abnormal for certain cultures where clearly adult people are having romantic relationships with underage teenagers.
I mean, that was a thing, like, back in the day, though.
So, I'm not saying it's right, but it's more of like, I'm wondering, does that factor into why people didn't initially kind of go, hey, wait a minute, that's fucking disgusting. What are you doing? They're like, well,
Man, people have changed, and now everybody's acting disgusted, but we've evolved, I guess, as a society to the point where, pedophilia ain't cool, and we got a name for it. We know what it looks like. We know all the angles of it. Law and Order SVU has been out for 22 years. Like, we know what these creeps look like.
For years.
Exactly. We know what these creeps look like. So now we're more aware and we're more intelligent. I think that if he's still out here doing it, we got to do something about it. And he was. Like, it's not like, and Bill Cosby, oh my God, it's just so much. They're the same. Like, you're still out here. It's not like you did it because it was the times or whatever. Like, you did it and you still out here doing it.
Like, bro, you got away with murder, essentially. Like,
OJ.
You might want...
Chill, bro. Like, we got you... The culture got you off. The culture got you off, and you still out here acting wild. And you don't even want to give credence to the fact that the culture got you off.
But at one point, do you become a victim of, like, your mindset? Not a victim in the sense we're just talking about, like, how in our brains, there's a certain thing a man has to do. Whether or not mental health perspective, it's fair and balanced. That's how we are wired. So from his perspective, if for years he was in an insulated bubble where it was okay, people looked the other way, it was normalized.
I mean, I'm interested to see what...
he's detached from reality.
I'm interested to see what happened with Bill Cosby. I don't know. But with R. Kelly, he was abused when he was a kid. So this whole ideal of manhood was shattered as a young person. Like, he wasn't able to come into that in a natural way. It was just brought to him, and he was like, I don't know. I'm a kid. I don't know what this is.
But at some point, that's true. But at some point, like you can't be using that as an excuse for your
why not?
decisions.
It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse.
Because he has access to resources.
We like to use that word when we don't want to hear what somebody else has to say. We call it an excuse. It's a reason.
I can acknowledge, like, hey, you were abused as a child. That could have had some kind of negative impact on how you view sexuality and why you maybe have an interest for underage girls and boys, according to like the latest lawsuit, right? However, it's not like you're Robert Kelly, the guy who works at the local muffler shop down the street, who's barely getting by. Like, you have unlimited resources to actually get
unlimited power. Who's going to check him to even make him do it?
So that comes back to taking accountability.
Taking accountability? Whoever made him take accountability for anything?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you can't use the excuse, well, no one checked me, like, you're making conscious choices at this point.
Alex, you've been trained to take accountability. You've been trained to do so in your life. Your mother trained you to take accountability. Whoever male figures around you, we've all been trained to take accountability. R. Kelly is not.
He's not the victim here. I'm not saying that's what you're saying.
No. I'm just saying he was once one.
Right, and I'm saying at some point you have to take accountability and ownership for your own life and choices.
True. Those are all his choices.
That's all I'm saying.
But he had a fucked up mind that's going to make bad choices. He's more apt to make bad choices.
But it'd be different to me if it was one of those, like, a situation where, because this happened. You've heard stories of, like, people meeting people and they may not necessarily be aware. They go like, oh, I didn't realize this person was X age. You told me, they told me so and so. I'm like, well, you can, when you're talking to a teenager, it's clear they're a teenager.
Bro,
it's clear
when I'm talking to a 25-year-old, it's clear.
It's clear, like, there's a different, like, just
it's a lot of spaces here.
Mental gap with topic choice.
It's a lot of spaces here.
So I know we're playing a game here. Oh, they said they were 18. Come on, nigga. To be honest. But you're acting.
Where is his mentality, though? Is his mentality of one who is in their 20s or in their teens?
I would say.
And this is what he relates to.
Going to the extent to having an extensive network that's shielding you and making little loopholes and different. You're going out of your way to skirt the rules. It's not like you're just, I'm going to the park. I met somebody. No, you're like going out of your way to do this. Yeah. So
same thing with Michael Jackson, right?
Allegedly.
Okay, you got a double standard. You don't believe the Michael Jackson thing.
No one believes the Michael Jackson thing.
That's not true.
I think
it's hard not to believe a little bit more. Just with that last documentary was a little too descriptive.
That last documentary was disgusting.
It was.
It was too graphic. Like, sir, come on.
I felt like we were unnecessarily being exposed to child porn in some way. Like, I didn't like it at all. And it made me uneasy. I guess I did that on purpose to make me have this doubt in my mind whether he did it or not. They made it obscene and made it emotionally binding to the point where you're like, well, now I got to reconsider this shit because you're talking about bending over and spreading kid butt cheeks. Like, what is this?
and that's what I mean in terms of, I think it had the reverse effect. I think one of the things they did well with the R. Kelly sort of like exposites and documentaries is they gave you detail, but it wasn't the level of detail in those documentaries where it got like disgusting. It was more of, I think when you got too graphic, like you said, my brain goes, whoa, this is weird. So the message you're trying to convey is getting lost because now you've grossed out and weirded out your audience. To the point where they go like, nobody's spreading kid butt cheeks. Get out of here. So, and frankly, nobody, I think the reactions is that no one really cared as much.
I think there's mixed emotions about that. It was hurtful to hear. It was just like, no, I don't believe this. But at the same time, because we want to be woke, so we have to be responsible. We have to try to believe it.
Nobody canceled Michael Jackson.
No, anybody cancel anybody. That's so stupid. Nobody's canceling anybody. Nobody gets canceled. Who got canceled?
R. Kelly got canceled.
R. Kelly canceled himself.
Canceled in the context of that.
It's gross. There's no other part of this. It's just bad. Like, I don't even hear anybody saying, oh, but he loved the kids. Like, I don't even have, there's no positive.
That would hurt your argument for R. Kelly's kids. That's the problem. He loved the kids.
A little too much, right? Nobody's on his side as far as a good guy he was to anyone. Like, it's only dark. So it's easy to just be like,
well, you got the advocates.
Bill Cosby was America's dad, a complete positive role model in person. Mm-hmm. So there's this redeeming quality that we know you have. There's nothing with R. Kelly. It's just easy to brush him away, but you're still going to listen to it. You're not canceling R. Kelly because people are still bumping Ignition. They're still bumping.
Listen,
you haven't.
I'm just saying, I haven't listened to an R. Kelly song since, like, I would say college, or like I really was old enough to like, wait a
You
minute.
weren't really an R. Kelly person, though, were
No,
you?
I was a fan. Now,
And college was the time where we saw the whole P on you thing was going around. So it was like we stopped then.
but we were old enough to like.
We were also went to a particular high school in which these things were he was around.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
there's that. But so we're a little bit more conscious of it. So of course we're not going to listen to it. But there's people still out here bumping R. Kelly, and we'll still bump
But
R. Kelly, and we'll still get down with some R. Kelly. Come on.
You make a good point. Like, we heard it growing up, but it wasn't like the music of our generation. So like those people who are a bit older than us, who like that was like they have so many memories tied to like.
I disagree. He blended into our, he was relevant for a very long time. So he blended into our generation.
We were kids, meaning like we're like what in the 90s. You're like between the ages of 5 to 12.
He was still making sex music in the 2000s.
Kids,
we were coming into our own sexually as young adolescent males. So he's still a part of our childhood too.
I would say he was there, but he's not the music of our generation.
Man, I'm gonna just say it. We was fucking R. Kelly. We was doing it.
I don't think so.
I know I was.
I'm saying like R. Kelly isn't like a cultural fixture. Like, if you never listen to R. Kelly again, you'd be like, oh, I can't because I have so many memories tied to this. It's like, oh, you made some great songs, but you're not like
There's some great songs tied up to some memories.
I don't know.
Like everyone does that. Like you play a little something, you get into the groove.
But it wasn't like he was a soul voice. He definitely was a powerful voice of R&B of like a very long time. I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but I'm saying us being in our 30s, we just don't have the same connection to it as people in their 40s do. Because
I don't know.
Because those are people who are still advocating for him vehemently, like 40s and 50s, because they have a different relationship with the music.
He was also fucking people from all these generations, so everybody seems to have an affinity.
That's all I'm saying. Like R. Kelly's got some great songs, no argument. But at this point, I would say who would be a better example for me?
But we're talking about like being canceled, but not really. Kanye. Like I think Kanye done enough
for.
If he wasn't so great, that you would have been like, get the fuck out of here.
Great example. I think for our generation, not necessarily you, but people our age range, someone like a Kanye West who was like with us like from that young adulthood.
I feel you on that.
Where it's like,
but that's not. He doesn't tie into anything. I was talking about from a standpoint of he has to be a part of our childhood because he was making a type of music that we were very interested in our adolescence because we're kids. Kids are very horny. So we are all like, we're experiencing that in a certain way. It's part of us too. R. Kelly is a part of us too.
I'm not disagreeing, but I'm just saying he's not as close of a part. Because you're a kid.
Kanye is our age, like almost. Like our age range to the point where that's like, bro. That's like, bro. But R. Kelly is like creepy uncle. You was making this music, but I guess you grown too. I don't know.
That's like, you see how you kind of like, you're conflicted already? Like, you're right. You've got some memories. You was out there in the streets early, either. But like we said, like, I think it'd be similar like if when Kanye West was saying the crazy stuff about, what was that? Slavery is a choice, trying to make a far-fetched point, all that other stuff. It was very easy for like the people younger than us who were like teens and like early 20s to be like, okay, old man, Kanye, get out of here. But you saw like you.
I'm stuck on that. I was out here in these streets early. Clearly.
Well, you said.
I heard nothing after that.
Well, you clearly you just said it a few minutes ago. You were like, I was fucking R. Kelly. I'm like, well, R. Kelly was really active from like 90
but the man came
like
out with
2005.
The man came out with an album when we were like 16. He was coming out with albums when we were in our teens. And these are the ages in which you start exploring sex.
Chocolate City come out? I feel like
Chocolate City came out in like after we graduated almost.
Like, so I don't know, bro. You was out there in the streets early. That's okay. I'm not judging. It's okay. I'm judging a little bit, but it's fine.
Don't judge me, man.
Have to.
We're dudes. Like dudes, we definitely be on some creep shit early.
That is, you're not wrong.
Little boys, like, they be on some creep shit early. So
That's it. Well, okay, we gotta be careful what we're saying. We gotta be careful what we're saying there.
I mean, I know as a kid, I'm talking about from memories of when I was an adolescent myself. I'm not around children. I don't even like your children. I don't want to see them. You put them on Instagram. I wish you didn't.
Damn, bro, you're the godfather of my kids.
I know, but I love your kids personally. But it's a personal relationship with your children. Don't stick your children in everybody else's face.
So essentially, you have big fuck them kids energy.
To kids that I ain't role model to or some type of father figure, yes. Those are your kids. You keep your kids over there. Like, I shouldn't be around your kids. Like, me and my girl was talking about this. Like, some old man was walking past a park and there was kids and it was like, oh man, you should get away from that park. You are too old to be around kids in the park. That's creep shit. Go find you something to do.
It's possible it's creep shit. That's true.
Like, all you gotta look for, you don't know who these people, like, who these sex offenders are on your block. Like, unless you go look up the registry on the internet or wherever it is, you don't know. If you're not looking for the information, it's not just handed out to you. Should be going door to door telling you people are creeps, but they're not necessarily doing that. So you gotta be looking. You gotta be out here being vigilant.
So I think it's to wrap up the R. Kelly topic. I would say Kells is pretty much toast in these streets. I think maybe 30 years from now, the music may like outlive the infamy. Like, I'm sure if you go back through history, there's a lot of musicians who did some foul shit, but we still rock their music. But I think whether or not he's going to be like a cultural fixture for the next 10 plus years, probably not. He'll probably,
You listen to James Brown?
Yeah, James Brown was horrible.
Beat the hell out of women.
Women, band members.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Monster.
I played James Brown 2 days ago.
Exactly.
Because it's fire.
And how long ago was he relevant? You gonna still be listening to R. Kelly into the 2020s, 2030s, 2040s, and 2050s.
Nah.
R. Kelly is classic music. Classic generational music.
Because I know what's tied to it, at least for now, I can't play Kelly. I can't. I haven't played R. Kelly. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying.
And we tend to forget transgressions as we go along.
As long as the art holds up, yes.
Yep, and that's art. That art gonna hold up.
One of my favorite songs was the "Make It Rain" remix. I used to love that song.
Who you don't like on that situation?
No, R. Kelly's on that.
Oh yeah.
Remember, he taught you bottle math for models.
I mean,
I got one bottle. I got one model.
Lil Wayne has said some things that you might not want to fuck with Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne's trash too. Lil Wayne's trash. Like, fucking gremlin. As talented as I was a huge fan of Lil Wayne in college.
Lil Wayne has said some things.
But he said some wild shit. I'm like, come on, bro.
You don't even care that you black.
But he's also been rich and famous.
That's what I was.
He's been, a regular person.
I always explain that to people. Like, he doesn't have any idea of what being poor and black is. I don't even understand where that
he was just like a regular person, and then he kind of slowly grew into like a megastar.
He was. What was it? Hot Boys? Hot Boys, right?
He was like 14, 15 then. He's a baby.
He's a baby. So how long have you really been broke to where you can't pay bills?
And that's what I mean. Like, oh, me? Shit.
First of all, we got to stop looking at this. Could be a topic. We got to stop looking at people, celebrities, to be these examples. Like, these people are just people, and they may not come from things that you may necessarily believe in or want to believe in or should believe in. Stop trying to make these people your daddy or your mama or whoever else. Like,
we're on the same page. To me, the whole, I know we're like kind of skipping around here. The Nicki Minaj like makes the comments about the vaccine, her reservations about the vaccine, and the anecdotal story about somebody nuts well, the cousins, or he ended up losing a wedding because he was inhibited or something. And I was like, okay, I was like, all right, I put that in the crazy box. Sure, whatever.
Yes, that's all I did. Why didn't everybody else do that?
But what shocked me was like when the Minister of Health of Trinidad, they had to come out and do like a press conference. They put resources into like addressing this. I'm like, why are you acknowledging the nonsense? And my wife's like, oh, well, they have to make sure people probably called in. Mm-hmm. People were like, well, she's probably the most famous person from the area. So they listen, like, why are you listening to a musician?
She's
about
just a musician.
Like, I don't understand.
I will say the reason why, this is like my vaccination thing.
Oh boy.
The reason why is because, and I'm irritated with people with the whole go get vaccinated. Like,
well, are you saying you're anti-vaccination? Or
I'm not anti-vaccination because I am currently vaccinated. But what I'm saying is demonizing somebody because they are not vaccinated, because they want to take a wait and see approach, which was that's what I was doing. I literally just wanted to wait and see what reactions happened when people started getting vaccinated. I just wanted to take a wait and see approach. I think that is okay. I don't understand why people are going off the deep end and saying that you're hurting society. From what I understand, this vaccination works like this protection is for you. It has no effect on whether or not you can actually get COVID. It's for when you do get it, you fight it in a way that doesn't end you in the hospital. But it has nothing to do with it leaping off of each other. Like, you're still going to get COVID. So why is that person's vaccination your business?
Well, herd immunity. The thought process being that if you are unvaccinated...
We tried that a long time ago, and it shit didn't work for this because this thing mutates too fast.
But that's also because more people didn't get vaccinated.
No, I'm talking about before the vaccination was out. The first strategy they wanted was herd immunity. If enough people get it and we isolate ourselves enough, it will just somehow dissipate somehow. But because it mutated to another variant, we were like, oh shit, this isn't going down. We got to actually get a vaccination out here. Now, another thing that I've known from watching documentaries, vaccinations get clinically trialed for 10 years before they get released. It took forever for a flu shot that came out. You just rush this shit out and you want people to just trust it.
Okay, so I'll just talk about that one because I agree with your point that people shouldn't be demonized for asking questions that are, valid questions, or at least things that should be addressed.
It's just a question.
But if the point of the question is to not really to be open to information, but more go I don't care what you're going to say. I'm asking the question.
I understand that. And people with these dumbass conspiracy theories, part of this Trump brood of people who just want to be
not just Trump folks.
Well,
I mean, I would say hood niggas and Trump folks aren't that different.
No, they're not.
I'm just gonna keep sorry.
A lot of dudes just don't want to listen to what you got to say, especially if you sound like school.
Shut your nerd ass up.
We're not getting this vaccination. How about that?
You got a PhD in the topic? I don't give a shit. I got YouTube.
Fuck that. Fuck your PhD. All right. Well, science. It will save your life.
But to answer your point about people saying well, hey, I thought there were longer trials for different we roll out vaccines because there's you got to understand side effects. But I'd also say, how much shit do you put in your body that you really don't know what it's doing?
It's at least been trialed for at least 10 years and FDA approved.
If you're eating Doritos,
not emergency approved. It's not emergency approved. The things that you're eating aren't emergency approved by the government. They've been approved for a very long time. They've been proven not to kill you overnight or do some type of weird shit to your body. Although it will kill you over time, everything in this world kills you over time. So how are we really discerning between that? I hate people bringing up that point. Yeah, people put food that's been on the shelf for years. That shit just got on the shelf.
You take drugs?
I don't ingest. I don't even ingest a lot of drugs. I don't ingest anything that just came out last year.
Not you, as in you, Tristian. You is the people. We do things all the time that we interact with our body, whether it be drugs, food, medicine, that you don't truly fully understand. I'm not saying having reservations is not a valid thing to have, but using that implies that you are actively looking into everything you put in your body. You may, because you are a health conscious person, but I'll be honest. I don't. There's some things I look up, but most things I'm like,
There are other factors. There are other factors, not just that. Okay? So this pandemic thing, since it came out, it's been a very sliding goalpost of facts about what this...
That's science, yeah. It's over time thing. It's more information. That's one thing I like about science as opposed to other things. As more information comes in, that can change.
But do you understand when people are scared, that can probably make them pause when things are sliding around and I don't know what to think or what to believe, right?
So then I would agree, yes. But however, I would say, then where are you getting your information from? I'm not saying you have to treat everything as gospel, but I'm going to be more inclined to listen to a myriad of people who actually understand.
Information from the WHO and CDC changed.
It's science. It's going to change.
But I understand that's rational. But at the same time, people may look at that and say, okay, I don't know what to believe right now.
So then you're going to believe a fucking YouTuber?
Oh, no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying people who have paused I'm not saying anti-vaxxers can fuck because they are against it. I'm just saying people who have paused for
we're on the same page.
Normal people who are pausing.
We're on the same. My wife, because she breastfeeds and she was a little hesitant to get it because she was like, well, I want to wait to understand what it can do to our youngest.
Exactly.
I'm like, that's fair. There's nothing wrong with that, She got the cousin of the doctor. They talked about it. She talked to her own doctor. She's like, okay, I feel comfortable enough now to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on the same page. I don't agree with demonizing someone that has a different opinion and asks questions. I'm just more of when you're like debating someone who's an expert in the topic, not you, but people debate like experts saying, that's not right. Here's a YouTube video of this guy.
Yeah.
He said this.
I know. And that's what muddies the waters a lot with people who are not, some people who are just pausing to get anti-vax. You get not anti-vax, but people who are pausing to get vax. You're lumping them into being anti-vax. Mm-hmm. And it's not fair. Like, everybody's not an idiot because they don't want to get this vaccine right now. Fair. It's just because you're pausing. You want to be cautious.
I'm not against you.
And then there's the money part of it.
That's fair.
Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer, two companies who were just litigated against for their practices and other medication practices. Pfizer was told not to produce opioids anymore, and Johnson & Johnson's got cancer lawsuits with some of their products. Mm-hmm. But they're out here for this cash grab for this vaccine. And it's just a little suspicious that you trust these companies who are coming off of these very public lawsuits. And I'm just saying to the public, for me, because I was aware of those lawsuits and I was aware of what they've been doing and what they've been pulling back from them and the whole opioid crisis with Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, some of their products causing cancer. Mm-hmm. I was kind of like, okay, so these are your leaders for the vaccine? Weird. This just seems like money and cash grab. And how can you really trust these companies when morally and ethically they have an issue already, but you're just giving them to the highest bidder?
Well, I would say you can't fully trust any company. They're especially if you're a for-profit company, your bottom line is to make money. Does that mean every one of the company is constantly making decisions that are unethical?
Well,
no.
When you were just in the lawsuit, it kind of tells me that you are making decisions that are unethical.
But that's also part of, I think, industries as a whole. Especially when you get into pharmaceutical industries or biotechnology or whatever you want to classify them as. There's going to be some hits and misses. They factor in that there may be lawsuits from certain things that we do.
You're factoring in just the finances. You're not factoring in the part that people will have pause on that if they see this. If they're aware of these things and they see these names pop back up in as a leader of creators of a vaccine, it may be like, okay, so this is another reason why I feel uncomfortable about the vaccine.
You're going to get the vaccine, everybody. It's going to happen.
I mean, yeah. I got it.
You know,
at some point, you're just going to be like, I want to do this to be responsible for the whole situation. You want to be the best person you can be.
They're going to mandate. I mean, they're going to make mandates in place similar to other vaccines for, like, you know, the cases where kids or different careers require. And I get, like, people.
Because I could be wrong about my information. We could all be wrong. This thing could change to the where vaccination does help to defend transmission and things of that nature. So you gotta be able to adapt, like you said, with science. But at the same time, I just understand people who are pausing. Yeah. And I wish people wouldn't just call them stupid for not getting the vaccine or call them idiots. And I'm like, you're doing too much because you're not being a leader per se yourself or being very smart. You're going with the herd yourself because more people are vaccinated than not, actually.
I think that is a byproduct of just where we are now, just so much information that we have access to. I think people aren't necessarily designed to have that much information thrown at us on a daily basis, speaking about media or social media in particular. So I think it forces you to have to make snap judgments, which may make sense, you know, from a evolutionary standpoint in terms of danger or harm or assessing risk, because it's like, oh, hey, I see a tiger. That's probably bad. Let me get away from that. Or that person ate this fruit. He died. I'm not going to eat that fruit. Makes sense in that context, but I don't think we were designed to process so much information so quickly and make an informed, nuanced decision.
Our society is defending.
So it makes you get into a trap. Hey, Tristian, are you getting the vaccine? Yes, but I have reservations. Oh, you're anti-vaxxers. I can quickly classify you as friend or foe. I think it's the only way you can keep up what's going on. Like, I don't know. But I 100% agree with what you're saying.
It's just so frustrating because it's like I'm somebody who paused on this, so I'm an idiot for that.
I was too. I at least wanted to like get a better understanding of what was going on. Not that I have a PhD or advanced knowledge of.
No, it's just that I like to read things that are going like in my body. I really do at the grocery store read the nutrition facts. Yeah. I think you should too. I'm just saying, people.
Anybody got time for that?
They got time.
I check to see.
They got time for a lot of dumb shit. They got time for that.
Now, to your point, though, one thing you do know is stuff you travel, even if you go like across the border to Canada, like you see certain products. There are certain things we can put in products here that we can't put in products other places. So that's a fair point.
Do you drink the water in Mexico?
No.
Exactly.
Actually, I did on accident,
Oh my God.
and I got fucked up.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
I fucked up our vacation.
You should have looked at the nutrition facts.
It wasn't intentional. My dumb ass, I drank the water out of the, I was taking a shower. I wasn't paying attention.
Oh my God.
I was like,
okay.
And boy,
I heard of somebody like taking ice cubes and they got it that way.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That could happen.
Yeah.
That I was down with like stomach bug for like 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
I mean, I think you should be aware of what you're putting in your body and not be a dumbass about
You're
it. Just
good,
because somebody said, do it.
you're good. So we got to. I know we're getting close on time here. So do you want to hit what's called the rapid fire topics, where Tristian kind of likes to have a hot take of anything, a few things that could come to mind, or would you like to hit that ego topic?
Oh, the ego topic. Let's do that. How much time we got?
We'll keep it on the guys. We only got a few minutes left.
Okay, ego.
Right. So I guess the opening question would be: has there ever been a situation where your ego was your undoing, whether or not the situation was good or bad for you?
I mean, all the time. I think with me, I think it's pride. Like, I have a lot of pride. Pride and ego go hand in hand, right? I have a lot of foolish pride. I don't like taking help. I'd be like, man, fuck it, I'll do it myself.
Yep.
And it gets too late, and you be like, I probably should have got some fucking help.
Yep. You're like, God damn it.
Like, you just be like, you up in the air, you don't know what you're doing, and you be like, well, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. But my girls just steps in and be like, no, we're gonna call somebody. You can give me the money, but we're gonna call somebody because you don't know what you're doing. Or, I think with the actually asking for any financial help, I haven't needed that in a long time. But when I did need it, I didn't do it then. And my mother, when she was living, God rest her soul, she used to be mad at me about that. But I think that's for, like, again, back to the manhood thing, man. This idea of what a man is, and I guess we can lead into the next show with this, but just the identity and ego plays into that a lot. So
okay,
you'd be like, no, I don't want this from you, Mom. Like, at this point, I'm 18. Like, I don't need to keep asking for money from you anymore. I should be out of the house. I'm working. I got my own money. And you're 19, you're 20, 21, same thing. But, you at those ages, we a little bit more broke because those are the beginning ages. And she would be like, why don't you just ask for help? And I'd be like, because I got to make a way in this world. And I won't make a way in this world if I keep asking for fucking help.
Kids, ask for help. Anybody listening, ask for help. No one gets to the top by themselves. All the self-made folks had someone in their corner. I'm guilty of it too.
Hey, if you want to be one of them kids from the 80s and 70s who go out and get it, and not one of these new kids, the 90s and 2000s, who don't want to get nothing themselves, don't ask for help if you're 18, 19.
Ask for help.
Nah, go get out and get it. It's so easy to go out and get it now these days.
So I'm sorry, I'm be clear. I'm not saying don't take any initiative. But if you reach a point where you need help for something, don't let your ego get in the way of like the end goal.
Yeah. I mean, but I feel like I think lean on the side of not asking until you need to ask for help. I feel like you should lean on the side of not depending on someone.
No argument there. I would say for myself, before we actually get into why I asked the question, I would say an example would be like one of my first jobs out of college. Like it was a company where you kind of bounce around projects and had some pluses, some minuses, but overall I was doing okay. And I got to a point to where I found a really good spot, a really good team of people who probably would have propelled my career faster. But because I wasn't getting the recognition that I wanted, because it was like a high performing team, I was like, you know what? It's good. I had an opportunity to go work at Amazon, some other stuff. I said, no, I'm good. I'm going to go off my own route. Roll the dice. It worked out okay. But looking back, it's like, well, damn. Because now a lot of those people are in very high spots. And like, well, if you would have kept it going, you might have been able to use that to get where you wanted to go faster. So I was like, yeah, that's one of the times where my ego probably played against me, despite the fact it was like a good situation. So I brought that up. 2 stories. The first, we kind of go laughing about it yesterday, was Umar Johnson challenging Mike Tyson to a fight. Yeah. After Mike Tyson did an interview with, he interviewed Freddie Gibbs on this show, Hot Boxing. And he brought up who he was, and Mike Tyson was like, who was that? When he explained it to him, he was like, well, you listen to him. Is he rich? Right? So then, obviously, Umar Johnson, being a bit of an egomaniac, was, let's get the fight going. Let's raise money for my school. Let me get Floyd Mayweather. I'm like, Umar, I get this is a kind of promotion, but Mike Tyson will literally kill you with his.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. I don't know.
I know. As a legendary as Roy Jones.
When I said I don't know, I don't mean I don't know how the outcome is going to come. I don't know where he thinking that. I don't know where these UFC fighters are coming off thinking that they're anywhere the level of boxer just because they've done a little bit of striking.
Umar Johnson is no fighter.
Who is? I thought Umar Johnson was a UFC fighter.
No, Umar Johnson, Dr. Umar Johnson.
Oh, you said his last name. I just call him Dr. Umar. I don't even say his last name.
Is he a doctor?
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just, is he a doctor? Like,
if you got it in front of your name,
is he like Dr. Phil or is he like an actual doctor? Because Dr. Phil is not really a doctor.
No, but you got that PhD. You earned that.
But that's what I'm asking. I don't mean medical doctor. I'm sorry. Like, does he actually have a PhD, or is he just use the title doctor as part of his like?
I assumed.
Okay.
And I shouldn't assume. I guess we should look that up or something.
I'm not saying
I don't want to check him, but I mean, I thought he was a PhD.
Sorry, if you are, apologies, Doctor.
This is not even a fighter. What is he doing? I thought it was at least
no. You're talking about one of the greatest boxers.
Well, you know what?
In recent memory of arguably the history of the sport.
Does Dr. Umar fight at all? Is he a good weight, a size?
No, he's a out of shape, middle aged black man.
It doesn't sound like a good idea, does it?
It doesn't. Because we saw Chad Johnson's an excellent athlete, and he fought like a journeyman boxer, and he actually did a pretty decent job until he got caught.
But that's it, though. Like you can't get caught.
But eventually you will, because you just don't have you don't have the skill set.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like people who box don't get caught. Like they're trained not to get caught like that.
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be at least an arm up to block that at least.
And, I mean, Chad was doing good in this case. Like he was actually out that fight. He like for a guy who didn't box, maybe he did it. Just keep in shape. He did like pretty good with his movement. It was a little unconventional, but it was working. But over time, my man hit him with the third, and it was the third or fourth, and Chad went down like a ton of bricks.
Mike Tyson is still in shape. Mike Tyson still does boxing sparring, and so I think that dude is a little bit of a clout chaser. That sounds like a clout chasing comment.
I would say, as a person who's like messed around with people, not even people who were good amateur fighters, it was a quick realization. I was like, oh,
that's anything.
That's a different tier.
That's anything like basketball. Like some dude that plays high school or college basketball. If you go out in the court with him and you don't do any of that and you just be hooping on the weekends, you're going to get your ass baked.
It's funny.
Every time.
Like people will talk about people who are trash in the league, and we understand this.
They will bake your ass every time.
Bro. Like you see them like they're superhuman.
I saw this dude's video. He's the dude that couldn't like get on a G League team. And he was just hooping
destroying everybody.
I'm like, what is...
Like, he was God out there.
Like, there's a different tier for all these sports. Like, these people who play professional football are murderers, like legal murderers. Like, they're out there, freaks of nature. They're 6'3", 225, and move like a freight train. Like, they're
naturally
ridiculous.
They're naturally more gifted than you are, and they have trained...
physical things, like all of them. Because they hoop against you, they're going to burn you too.
Who was that? Who's talking about that? There was somebody talking about that recently where they were saying like a lot of the football players, like some of these big universities, they would come and play like basketball, and they were just like windmilling on people.
Yeah, because they're still athletic as hell, but they look like bruisers on the court though. Like if you see them against actual basketball players, like you see the difference. Like there's a huge difference, and like this sport isn't for you, but you're very athletically talented, and I can tell.
Right. I would just say for anybody, if you do anything physical, it's a good sort of gut check of like reality. Because I think most people have this false sense of confidence where we think like in a situation, I know what I'm going to do. If it goes down, I'm ready.
You're going
to get your ass dusted. You might get lucky, get a weapon.
I always just feel like the best idea is to talk your way through it.
The best idea is to run. Get away.
Well, I mean, you might have to protect somebody in a situation, someone who is not as fast as you. So in that situation, you talk it out. You can't just run away from the situation and she's still there.
Well, that's different.
I'm sorry.
No, that's different. You're right. If something happens and you had to defend your lady, I mean, you might have to take an L.
Do you have to take an L, or could you just talk it out?
You know, in the world of men, there's a certain point in time where talking is, at that point, your best bet is to defend yourself.
No, your best bet is still talking because maybe.
No, if he's done talking, bro.
we still got to talk.
You catching, you about to catch
No, let's
the hands.
talk, man. Let's talk. Let's talk this out. You're not listening to the whole situation. That's what I would be saying. You're not listening.
If that look in his eye, we know that look where it's like he's about to haul off.
Bear hug him. Just bear hug him because he can't swing on you if you hug him.
Nah, I'm kicking you in your knees, bro.
I'm kicking you in the balls.
I'm kicking you in the knee and I'm trying to choke you out.
I'm kicking in the nuts.
The very little training I have in jiu-jitsu, I'm using it.
Knees to nuts.
I just get hold of your neck.
I'm short too. I'm right there. Knee to nuts, bro. I'm not playing.
But what if you miss?
I'm not gonna miss.
You're gonna slept.
It's gonna be overkill, like just too much in the area.
Can you recover though? Like by that, sorry, let me rephrase. Let's say you did catch an L in front of your lady. Do you think she'd throw it in your face? Or was that a fear you have? Like, man, if I get slept.
I think that she would be smart enough to understand that man was much bigger than I am. But still in her heart, be like, this man, if a man big enough comes, he can't protect me.
I said, baby, that's why I got guns. Great equalizer.
It is a great equalizer.
Muscles don't block bullets.
No,
I'm not
they sure
advocating
don't.
for gun violence, but if you
If you feel threatened.
if you're 6'5", a freak of nature, and
That's why they made them.
sorry, cowboy.
Tanks gotta go. They gotta take the tank down. Ammunition.
Sorry, cowboy. You catching the lead.
You shouldn't be so big. If you weren't so damn big, you wouldn't have got shot. How about that? We could have squared up as human beings, as men.
You're a fucking Avenger.
Exactly.
I'm a
catch
mortal
this heat.
man.
Catch this heat.
Hey, man. It is what it is. But my experience, though, most cats who really knew how to fight were cool.
Yeah, they're cool. People. They gotta be.
Hanging around them, most of them were like real chill.
I don't think they could just get in fights willy nilly like that either. I think if it goes
People
to a legal
challenge them a lot of
situation,
times.
I think it's bad for them.
True.
So yeah, they gotta have some restraint.
But most cats, most people who are confident in themselves, who know they can handle themselves, they aren't looking for like a fight. It's usually the dude who wants to, I can whoop his ass, bro. He's about to sleep you. You about to get you.
Why do you want to fight? Like, I don't understand. Like, what? Why do you even feel that way?
Because I think for some people, it's a sense of excitement, a sense of being alive. Like you see the movies. Oh yeah, I whoop somebody's ass, and then you punch them, and the reality is,
Smoke a blunt. You want to feel alive?
I didn't do anything.
Go get you some weed. You'll feel alive then. You'll float. You'll feel great. You'll float without somebody knocking you out first.
Illusion's a powerful thing, man.
I think people need to just chill.
I agree.
I think one of the biggest problems men have is just not being able to sit in a room alone and think. Always having to go do something.
You think that's a problem?
Yeah. It could be a problem.
I guess I know we're winding it down, but like I'm curious, where are you going with that?
It's a problem.
Let me explain. I guess I should give you a chance to actually, like, what do you mean when you say gotta go do something?
Even if it's some people are incapable of just sitting still. Like even if it's a bad idea, it's an idea, and we're gonna run with it.
You gotta get the bag. You gotta get the bag. You gotta be moving. If you're not grinding, you're not living.
Yeah.
That's your Gary V's. That's your.
I guess that's the mentality the PPP loan people had. Just got to go get the bag.
Where I was going.
Yeah. And now you fucked up because you fucked with the IRS, and the IRS don't fuck around.
There are no free lunches, people. If it sounds too good to be true, in my experience, it normally is.
The IRS are not the people you want to owe.
They get everybody.
You don't get away with it.
No one gets away.
So what made you think that you was going to be able to put your name on this paper for this application?
I think the glorification of the scam culture and the quick buck now. Like, oh, it's easy. All you got to do is make a little business. You get 20 stacks off rip.
But you're going to do 3 years, 3 to 5 years at the least.
It's thinking about the now. We were talking before, not the long term. It's like, it's a loan. That means at some point you
got to pay it back. I don't want any loans. I'm tired of loans. I want my own income. I want my own revenue that's not untied to any other conditions. I just want money. I don't want loans. I don't understand why people don't understand that. Like, when loans are not money for you, they're actually money for someone else, compounded by interest. Loans are a business profiting someone else, not you.
Well, you can use them to leverage, leverage things.
Only leverage, but leverage is not necessarily real.
I feel you. It's more like you're using it as a means to get to an end.
Yeah.
So like, I got this loan, I'm good. It's like, well,
no, you're not. You got a lot of work to do, actually. Yeah.
But I will say, the one woman who ended up starting to GoFundMe after she ran the scam, they were like, hit her with like, yo, you got to pay us back. she raised at least a few grand. And I was like, wait, she was honest. She was honest. Like, yo, I ran a scam. They caught me.
I thought about that. I thought about starting a GoFundMe.
Nah. Wait, just for the PPP loan?
No, just for like money.
Oh.
Just be like, it's for puppies or some shit, but it's not. It just comes to me. But I looked into it. It was like, no way you can get it done. So, yeah, I mean, but everybody thinks about these things. Like, I mean, but I don't understand when you had your thought process, you didn't think about the end game. Why don't you think about your end game? Why do you only think about today? Like, why would you think about what happens tomorrow after you get this money?
I think it's a cultural thing. That's what I'm talking. Like, it's like I want to stunt now. I want to floss now. I want to get like the immediate gratification so I can post that picture.
But that's not even stunting for real.
It doesn't matter. The illusion of it is what matters. Because right now, you can.
No, I mean even that amount of money is not even stunting for real.
Some people it is like 20 grand. If someone gave you 20 grand right now, 20 grand. That may be what a few months' money you make, like working like if you work like a regular job. But to your point, like when reality sets in, that money's going to be gone in a couple of months unless, it's some unique situation you have.
That money's going to be gone. First, your black ass, because you want to stunt, that money's going to be gone in a week. So
yeah.
Now what?
But you get the picture. You get the picture with you with like the fancy like name
Instagram
brand
picture ain't worth that much.
Behind a crazy whip with the praying hands, talking about only God can judge me. Work hard, play hard.
What is that shit doing for you?
I don't know. People, you mentioned it before, clout chasing.
Clout chasing gets you nowhere.
It can be leveraged to hustle.
But okay, so these pictures, let's just say,
okay,
these pictures that you're taking with this 20 grand from these PPP loans, keep going on this road. I like this road. Are these pictures going to get you? Because you can't reproduce these pictures to keep building this brand so that you can be some type of Instagram ad person so you can make money. Like, you're not becoming anybody off of a week's worth of pictures.
A few things. I would say the first would be, I think social media, like the producers, like the developers, the brains behind it, did an unintended great job of creating this virtual world where people legitimately feel like anything I do here, whether it be the number of comments, the number of engagement, the number of likes I get, actually translates to real currency. Like, you feel like this is an actual thing. I noticed that, like, when I like step away from it, like about 2 years ago, I was like, life's a lot calmer. Like, people.
I don't even partake anymore.
People were like, just simple things like Facebook groups, Facebook conversations. People were like, you don't know so and so? He's a legend around here. I'm like, around where? It's a chat room.
The chat room.
That's not real. I was like, or people would go out of their way to sort of get the brownie points. They would just say things they don't necessarily believe, but knowing if I say this, a virtual signal, I'm going to get people to go, yeah, if Tristian, like, it'd be like, if you were not that you are, if you were the biggest fuckboy there was, and you were to say, I protect my black queens at all times, respect black women. Like, nigga, shut up. You have.
I mean, some people believe in they.
No, but I'm talking about the cats who say that but don't in their actions.
Yeah, all cap,
bro. Well, sorry, but
Kevin Samuels. Are you aware of Kevin Samuels?
I'm aware of Kevin Samuels.
So there's a lot of people men who support him in his ideology, and I see his points, but also it can foster bitch assness in a sense. Just from, why is it always on a woman to make this situation work and not on you to be a man in the situation?
So from what the few clips that I saw when he got viral, because I was like, all right, I saw the viral clip where essentially he was telling the black woman, ma'am, you're a 5. Lower your standards.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, I'm outraged. I was like, all right. I always try to make sure I understand the full context of a comment or a clip so I have more. So I watched the entire video and a few others. And it was more of, his thing seems to be, initially he was talking solely to men, and he was doing the exact same thing. Like, there's another clip that went viral where there was like a young guy who was like out of shape. He was kind of talking to him. He's like, so you don't have any money. You're fat. Like, do you at least have a big dick? No. So then why would the women you want, what are you offering them in return? Your presents? Get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about?
That's the.
And I think men overall society talks to us like that about like romantic expectations. Meaning, I know if I'm just a regular Joe, if I want to get quote unquote the top chick, I have to have certain bar markers I need to meet to even make it a reality. Whereas I think guys gravitate towards him because he gives that similar, I don't want to say red pill, but that similar sort of like dose of reality to women who normally are taught, regardless of like what you look like, what you do, like
you deserve this.
like you are like the top of the top. And I think he's got some valid points, but I agree sometimes it comes off a little like women bashing from what I heard. I was like, okay, some of the points I agree with, some of it, it's a little.
And then like all the ones that go viral are always the women getting bashed. But like you should show the men getting bashed for their material thing. And that's all.
He did it for like at least a year.
All that shit is just material. The shit he's talking about, what you don't have and what you do have. All things that you can look out and touch, but they're intangibles that are reasons why people are with people. I like this person because of their personality, not just what they look like or how much money they make or how tall they are or what car they drive or all that shit he's talking about. And I'm like, it's a big missing ingredient in what you're talking about. You're not talking about any of these intangibles. How we fit as people.
That's true.
That's more important than all those things to me.
But I would say playing the devil's advocate, which might be a segment, by the way. When I'd watched maybe like 10 videos altogether. It was, God. And like one thing I noticed is that he would ask women what they're looking for. And a lot of times those things that I would agree on the most part are superficial. Oh, he has to have a certain amount of money, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
That was the rubric they were using for like their mate. So that's the rubric he was using in the conversation. He's like, okay, if you're looking for a man who's tall, good looking, successful, etc., how do you look? What are you bringing to the table? And the thing is, which I agree with, for the large part, a man doesn't care about, not all men, obviously, about how much a woman really makes. He even doesn't necessarily want her to be
just visual.
But
it's mostly visual, but a lot of it, what men like or what intangibles you bring, especially as a woman, because we're not looking for any material thing as far as
take care of us.
Exactly. So, what intangibles do you bring to the table? Can I talk to you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you calm me down?
Yep.
Are you good therapy after a long day? You know what I mean?
Do you bring me peace?
Or, you know what I'm saying? If you are not one of those people that end up marrying you, more than likely I'm going to cheat on you with somebody who does bring me those things. And no, not necessarily me per se, but men in general, that's what they do. If you don't have these intangibles, and they won't tell you, a lot of men are very bad at telling, a lot of people are very bad at telling you how they feel or what's missing or whatever. So they're not going to tell you this shit. They're just going to start fucking with somebody else.
Fair.
And now women are doing it more often now.
Other women always were. It just was they were more discreet about it. Now they're just more vocal.
I think that women have been upholding for a very long time.
Bro.
I say the last 20, 25 years, maybe, they've become more or less more like, I can get mine too.
There's nothing new under the sun. There may be a point in time, to your point, where socially women were like really ostracized if they did cheat. But people have been fucking. If you're cheating on your girl, who you cheating with?
Yeah, but I mean,
she's not always
this
single.
idea of just being a wife has definitely diminished in the past 20, 25 years.
With some pros and cons. I agree. Women are definitely more than just wives and mothers, 100%.
And they should be. They're a whole people.
I agree.
But at the same time, I do, like, if you make a commitment to one person, if you don't want to do that anymore, break the commitment. Don't just start fucking around.
I agree. And I would say to people who cheat, whether you're man or woman, don't use the person's actions or non-actions as a justification for your choice.
Right, no, you just wanted to fuck around. That's what you wanted to do. You felt like you wanted to get some strange on the side, something different. They thought it'd be a better opportunity or had a fat ass or whatever it was. Whatever it was. That's what you planned to do.
Own that choice.
Own that shit. It's not, again, nothing to do with nothing else. And I feel like like what we were talking about, and the intangibles are missing. And I think we spend too much time on tangibles. What are your numbers? How tall are you? How much money do you make? Or for her, how fat is your ass? How big are your titties? What do you look like? Do you look good on my arm when we go out? Like, all these things don't matter. Can I have a conversation with you? Because a lot of people you can't have a conversation with.
That's true.
Like, vice versa. Some people are too advanced and some people are too slow. And they're okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with either one of them. You slow. If you are out there, you're out there. But you should be with somebody who's also your pace or complimentary.
Yeah.
Everybody's different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. If you find yourself vibing with a person, whether or not they're your standard or what you thought you would like, see where it goes. You might be surprised. Simple as that.
Simple as that.
So, yeah, man, unless you got anything else on that, though, I think we can wrap it.
Let's wrap it, man. I got nothing else. My throat is dying. I'm getting all this phlegm is coming up. I can feel it.
All right.
I live unhealthy life. I got to change.
This has been Deuce's Wild. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Yep.